You're watching Notepad with me, Ibrahim Sani. A few months ago, late last year in fact, PMC or Pan Malaysia Corporation has entered into a sale and purchase agreement with Intermark Resources or IMR Sdn Bhd to acquire a total of over 31 million shares, or basically 51% share in A&W Malaysia Sdn Bhd. A&W is of course the well-loved brand across Malaysia, particularly those in the old PJ area, in the old KL area. We grew up, I myself included, grew up with the brand, but of course, over the past few years, we've seen how growth has always been a question mark for this company. So, to talk about the new, trajectory of the company is George Ang, the CEO of A&W Malaysia Sdn Bhd, here to discuss not just about the growth trajectory of the firm, but basically what it means with the PMC injection into the company. George, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. I want to ask you a little bit more about the acquisition itself. This is a 51% stake. We're looking at about 21 million, valuing A&W roughly about 40-45 million ringgit. And to be honest, this is, I don't know whether this is a highly valued firm, but at the same time, we're talking about the brand equity, which could possibly be higher. So let's talk about how PMC has done what it intends to do inside A&W. My first question is, of course, the autonomy of A&W itself. How have you guys fared over the past few months?
I think very good. We just completed the acquisition last month, and we actually have a management contract, so we are 100% running the show. They are a more strategic investor, and we believe PMC will be a very good partner to us to grow to speed up the growth of A&W Malaysia.
Okay, this is exactly what we want to get into. We want to get into the weeds of this, right? When you say helping the growth, are you looking at, including the number of stores, including the number of variety on the menu? When you look at some of the quick-serving restaurant competitors out there, they are really ramping up their offerings, particularly for urban and suburban areas. Is that something that you want to compete against?
Yes, I think even during the pandemic, we were building stores. I think we were one of the few fast food restaurants that were continuing to grow quite fast. And this month itself, we are opening 4 restaurants. So with the backing of PMC, I think we can speed up the growth. And we have now different models, of course. Drive-thru is one of the key models we are looking at. We used to open a lot in the malls, but drive-thru, we are even building the express, what we call the kiosk model or the express model. And that will allow us to go into smaller formats and bring convenience to all our customers.
All right, so this is quite interesting when you say smaller formats. You're looking at heavy foot traffic areas. You're looking at areas where menus could be limited, but at the same time, the turnover could be quicker for your consumers and customers. Is that going to be a major drive for this?
Definitely one of the key drivers for the next 2-3 years. We are looking at MRT stations, we are looking at bus stops, we are looking at, like you say, high traffic, convenient, pick and go.
There is a report saying that you're looking at over 100 outlets by mid of next year, 150 outlets by 2025. To be frank, I don't know whether that's a lot or a little for quick-serving restaurants. Do you feel that that is enough for you to actually have a wider reach?
We are at 70 right now, so what I want to do is double the size in 2.5 years.
And how much is that going to cost, PMC?
Each outlet costs us about 1 million to 1.5 million ringgit to invest. So yeah, that you can calculate the sum if you're going to open another 70-80 outlets in the next 2.5 years.
That's about a touch under 100
million. That's quite a lot of money. Yeah, but the company is very profitable now. Despite the pandemic, I think we have managed to remain profitable despite all the challenges, and with the profits and also the support from PMC and our shareholders, I think we can have that trajectory of growth.
The story of A&W is this, right? People remember A&W as being a family-oriented organization. My dad, late dad, took me out there because we lived in the old PJ area, near Jaya area there, and of course we have fond memories of it. However, I don't know how else to put this, but the brand looks dated and tired. Is there a recognition on A&W's end that is something that you need to work on?
Oh, definitely. When I took over A&W, the concept was dated. A lot of stores were like more than 20, 30 years old. What we have just done is to revamp a lot of the old store. I think the latest one of the iconic store we have, besides the PJDI, where every people our age will say that they have dated or their family brought them for occasions, right? We have another iconic store in Seremban, near the lake, and we just spent about 2 million revamping that, and that have the retro modern, state of the art look.
Right. Moving away from brick and mortar, we've seen how the explosion of delivery has assisted some of the companies, big and small, particularly in the fast food service area. Do you feel that that is an area that you're going to attack and target moving forward?
Frankly, we survived the pandemic through online orders, through the aggregators. We work with a few key aggregators, and we have just sort of pilot our own app that you can order later. When you go to the store, you don't have to meet a cashier. You can just order from your app, and then when a number is called on the phone, you can take your order. So that's what we are piloting. It should be out next month, and even our own delivery, that is what we are building up.
One of the hesitance that we've seen from the consumer is having to download new apps. Do you have a market survey or market intelligence in the sense that this would be something that your customers want?
So it's part of customer acquisition. So we have to do a lot of marketing, a lot of to motivate the customers to download. So probably we have to give some offer and all that. It's just like how the aggregators try to grab market share, right? They give you 30-40% on a meal. I remember there was a customer that came to me and said, I'm going to order through the aggregator app, because going to your store is slightly more expensive. The aggregator is giving me 30% on your product.
You see what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This,
So
I would
there
make
is
that same
acquisition
argument,
cost,
right?
yeah?
Yeah. And sometimes, consumers like me would
Yes.
probably just compare and
Yeah,
contrast.
they're
and
very
we'll just go
smart.
there. Yeah,
Exactly.
and their sunk cost is actually quite bigger, probably 100 times bigger than folk like yourself. So how do you combat that kind of argument?
So I think the good thing is A&W, people we see a lot of people loving A&W, but we also see a lot of people know that it was not so well operated before, but all Malaysians actually know the brand, and they are aware of the brand. It's not a brand that is new. It's the oldest fast food in Malaysia. 1963 we have been around.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's much older than you and me. And if you talk to every Malaysia, they want A&W to be successful.
I agree. I'm rooting
they
for
have
you
this,
guys.
Yeah, they are rooting for A&W to be successful, to make a great comeback, right?
Because of that, do you think that whole notion?
So with
But
that,
having said that, that doesn't mean that every consumer will probably download the app, right? I mean, I'm not too sure.
I mean, app is one thing, but what we are trying to do is convenience. Just imagine if you download the app, and all you have to do is, before you reach the restaurant, 5 minutes, you just put your order in, and then when you reach the restaurant, you take your order. Rather than you go into a line, you wait, you pay, right?
The importance between brick and mortar and I guess dark kitchen concept versus the whole full-on delivery service. Where is the focus and where is the importance for A&W moving forward, knowing that the consumer behavior has changed over the past pandemic few years here?
I think we have great products, but I always say that we want to still be a dining experience. A lot of customers will come to me and say, George, we love holding that cold frozen mug and drinking that beer, right?
Yeah, frosted.
The RB, we call it RB now, not.
Not root beer. Okay.
We cannot use the word beer.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay.
So, but it's definitely, our concept is all halal. So
Okay.
people enjoy holding. And one of the first thing I did, actually, people did not realize when we took over a few years ago, was to ensure that we serve all our root beer in the store in a frozen mug.
I agree.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Right? Because through the years of operation, some of the restaurants, their freezer not working, their mug freezer not working, they just serve in paper cups, and people got disappointed with that.
Yeah, but there is a trade-off. I mean, if I go to A&W, I mean, I probably just understand the fact that, it's a paper cup if I want to take it away. But the notion that dining experience is actually
so
quite
it's
crucial.
still all about, I would say it's still a lot of dining experience for A&W, and that's why we built our new store based on the retro modern look.
Retro modern look. That's like an oxymoron there.
Yes, so you have to go and see. So it feels like you are in US, you know, the cushion leather
The
seats.
1950s dining.
Yes, yes. But then there is the modern, you can use app to order and all that.
Okay, then one hallmark element when it comes to dining experience in A&W is, of course, serving in the car. I don't know how things are today. I don't know whether I would appreciate eating in my car. I've already told my kids, my wife, nobody eats in the car. But you know, it was a good idea before, right?
The drive-in, yeah.
The drive-in, you know, and then the server would come in, and then they have the tray, and everything was actually quite nostalgic if you think about it. Is that something that is going to be pursued by A&W in the future?
That's not key for us. Although a lot of people come back and tell us that we should do the drive-in. We sometimes have festivities and we do the drive-in at the old PJ outlet just to bring the memory back. But I think in today, maybe it's not so practical.
Welcome back. This is Notepad. I have with me in the studio George Ang, the CEO of A&W. We're talking about the recent acquisition of PMC into A&W Malaysia. We're looking at the growth trajectory of A&W, seeing a sign of growth in the near term. So it's important for us to have a chat with them to see what kind of growth that they are experiencing or planning to experience in the near term. George, when we talk about A&W Malaysia, it's always that whole are you guys selling the old PJ outlet? Are you not selling that PJ outlet? And I'm not just talking about the PJ outlet per se, but that's the point of A&W Malaysia, right? I mean, it's great that you guys are cognizant that Malaysians are, number one, rooting for you guys, but number two, it is not well run as compared to your competitors. It is not well cashed funded as to your competitors. And the menu offering, quite frankly, it is well known and well memorized, but you're not competing with, say, limited time offering menu options, say for instance compared to McDonald's or KFC, where there's always a festivity and there's always a greater marketing speak compared to you guys. Knowing these things, what is the status of A&W Malaysia when it comes to trying to move the brand forward? We've spoken about brick and mortar and all that, but when you say you have great plans for product offering, what do you mean by that?
Oh, we have actually done quite a bit since we came in about 2.5, 3 years ago. One of the key things, if you notice, during the pandemic, we couldn't sell so much waffle because waffle you have to dine in, waffle with ice cream. So we have came out with a new product called Waffle to Go in a cup. We cut the waffle up and then we put everything in the cup. You can just walk and eat. So that is one of the key product innovation that is bringing us quite a bit of traction. We do actually have LTO, 6 to 8 LTOs a year. Today, if you go to our outlet, one of the popular LTO is a mozzarella corny and cheesy salted egg corny. So these are, we are trying to focus a lot more on the corny. The great thing about A&W is that we actually have 3 different types of proteins. The sandwich and the burger, the corny, and then the chicken. And all of these 3 sells equally well.
Oh, okay.
Unlike some of the other fast food, I mean, I'm not going to mention the name, but you know, some focus on chicken only, some focus on burgers only. A&W has that distinct of having 3 equal champions in product.
There is also that.
And we are the only fast food in, I don't know, maybe in the world, but in Malaysia, we are the only fast food that we have our own soft drink. We don't rely on the two
I can
big
say
brands,
Coke or Pepsi or whatever, right?
Yes, the 2 big brands.
Okay. And speaking of which, there is this whole, every time I speak to, or every time I interview a fast food company, I would always ask this question, which is the sustainability efforts of the company and the social responsibility efforts of the company. And I know at the end of the day, it's still consumer choice. I know that it's possibly important for me to have a balanced diet, and I also know that I can't possibly be feeding my kids, A&W every day, but I still do. And that's the part where I want to ask your opinion on where do you see A&W when it comes to having a healthier diet, balanced diet, and perhaps moving forward, how do we build a healthier community?
We have enlarged our menu. We are actually exploring on some plant-based product. We are also exploring on some salad and other more healthier carbohydrates, which is less fried. So you'll be seeing a lot of things coming out. I obviously don't want to reveal it in the show
fine.
so that our competitors
Yeah,
don't. But definitely we are enlarging our menu. And today, if you go to our store, you can see the menu is a lot more choices than previously. And what we are going to even do is to also introduce fish into the menu at probably sometime this year or next.
What is the logistical management of handling these kind of proteins? Chicken versus coney versus beef versus fish. Is it going to be a little bit strange in terms of managing so many different kind of varieties? In
that is also the challenge for fast food. We try to not to control our SKUs.
Yes, that's right.
It's very difficult. And even today, I think all the fast food are facing huge problem in protein. One of it being chicken, poultry.
Okay.
If you notice, even some of the big brands, they run out of poultry at a certain time in the menu. So it's tough during the pandemic. Not just on the pricing, but on the supply not coming in on time, on suppliers not giving us what we order.
Does that mean that you have to go downstream as well, and as well as upstream, to think about how to secure your own sources, maybe create your own poultry farm or something like that?
No, I don't think we'll go into that, but we have to work a lot closer with our partners, the poultry suppliers.
What will be some of the constraints that they're facing to a point where the supply is being constricted right now?
Yeah, so we engage with them a lot, and I think we are not the only one facing. It's a Malaysian or a global problem at the moment. The feed prices for poultry has gone up so much, and the government has put a ceiling price, so the suppliers are feeling the constraint of supplying.
One interesting point that I want to mention or share with you is that because Ukraine and Russia are great wheat producers, supplying over 30-40% of the total wheat supply, this has impacted feed cost. This has also impacted how they can export out, even if they can produce. Right now, World Bank has just announced that the Russian economy has Ukrainian economy has shrunk 50%, of which of that 50% shrinkage, 90% is wheat shrinkage. So we're facing a carbohydrate, acute carbohydrate
commodity shortage.
And I don't know how folks in the food business, whether or not it's fast food or any other food business, is going to be managing in the near term. It must be crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Like I say, we are lucky in a way because we have 3 categories of proteins that we are serving. But just imagine if we only have chicken, it would be a problem. And I think if our brand was just focused on chicken, we would have huge supply problems today. And even for chicken, we are not big in terms of the fast food industry. A&W is 70 outlets this year compared to the big boys, the biggest being 800 outlets and the second biggest being 300 to 400 outlets. We are small compared to them. But just imagine if our focus was like 80% on chicken, we would be...
You would be facing
serious
issues.
We would have an emergency meeting every day.
But the idea here is, of course, while you are diversifying your protein sources, you don't want to enlarge your SKUs, as you mentioned just now. How do you ensure that the customers continue to get the best value possible out of the offerings that you give?
So we actually have to menu engineer some of the menu engineer.
So talk to us through that. How do you menu engineer? I mean, as much as you can. I suppose.
So instead of selling 3-piece plate, we'll say we focus on one piece of chicken, 1 piece of something else.
So you diversify offering.
Mix and match, and we hope the customers realize and say, hey, maybe I should not just eat fried chicken. I should eat a fried chicken and something else. Could be a fish, could be a fish burger, could be a coney dog, and they enjoy that meal better, right?
Do you go through this kind of market intelligence stage where you try to see what menu works, what doesn't?
Oh yeah, we have a few what we call lab outlets that we try out things, and if it works after 1 or 2 months, then we implement it nationally.
And that is the strategy moving forward for you guys, where you just see, test, market.
Yes.
That's why I just love retail businesses like you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we are small, so we can choose a few outlets, we can test, and if the consumer give us the right feedback, then we can say, okay, let's open it up to
The biggest problem that I think you're going to face is, of course, marketing spend. You continue to be outshined by some of the bigger players because, I mean, I cannot imagine the kind of marketing budget that they have, right? I mean, in relative to yours. Do you feel that that is an area where you have to talk to your new owners right now on understanding how this is important and crucial? Would an organization like Pan Malaysia Corp understand that marketing is everything for a retail business like yourselves?
Yeah, most fast food business are considered marketing companies, right?
They are.
They are almost, yeah.
They are. Just like how, say, Facebook or Google is actually a media company more than anything rather than a social media company. But yes, you're right. This is a marketing company, marketing play.
You're right. And we have a percentage of spend that we put from the gross turnover. And that is a franchise agreement that we have. You have to spend a certain percentage of in our marketing. But I think the good thing is we are small, we are nimble, we can shift fast. I think for the big brands to come out with a new product, they'll take 6 months to a year. For us, we are pretty fast. We can work faster. So it's how to maximize the dollar spend, I would say, the return on marketing rather than how big you are. And the good thing is we are only at 70, 80 outlets compared to them who have so many outlets. People see us as, wow, this is a place to go because we don't see so much of them. So there is that
exclusivity,
that exclusivity feeling for now, right? And when we launch a product, usually we see the take-up is very high because people want to try. Yeah. If you go to the older brands, and I personally don't think that the 2 or 3 big brands in Malaysia are doing a good job despite 10 times the amount of marketing they have. They're just rehashing a lot of things.
But I see them everywhere. I see them on my Twitter feed.
You see them, but the product they're promoting is just rehash and nothing new. I don't see a huge leap forward.
Okay. And so how are you guys doing it then? I mean,
I think people are talking about A&W having a huge leap forward since we took over with the retro store, with the product being so much better. Before we took over, the chicken, nobody talked about the chicken. Today, there's a lot of people talking about the chicken, saying that our chicken is so much better than the 2 other boys or 3 other boys. The simple thing we did was just to use fresh chicken instead of frozen. And the perception changed so much when people say, wow, actually your chicken, I never realized A&W has a damn good chicken.
I want to talk a little bit more about some of the partnerships that you have with MyDen plus Sim Leisure Group. How has that come along?
So yeah, we have strategic partnership with, for example, Sim Leisure Group. So we are in Kidzania as the exclusive fast food inside Kidzania. One of the things that people keep telling me is, hey, George, A&W, all the old folks know, but the young kids don't know. So how do you get the young kids? So we're trying to engage. Kidzania is one of our partners to engage the young kids. When they come into Kidzania, they get to make their own coney, they get to make their own burger, and that little fast food experience at the age of 10. Sim Leisure also owns the Penang Escape Park, and again, we are the exclusive fast food inside the theme park. And we are working with them, and these are where the young people get engaged, and they say, wow, you actually have a very good presence, basically. Yeah, a very strong presence.
What about franchisee management here? How much of the focus is given towards talking to the franchisees?
So A&W is completely corporate owned. We don't have a franchisee.
Oh, pardon me. Okay.
So the system-wide is all under the same company.
Is that sustainable? I mean, you're looking at managing over now, eventually 150 outlets.
To me, it's much easier to manage internally. The franchisees usually...
And why is that? What is the argument there?
It's easier to manage your own people than to manage entrepreneurs, 10 or 20 entrepreneurs that have their own line of thinking every day.
Okay.
So I think, and that's also one of the reasons why we can align our marketing plan, align our supply chain, align our new product development, because it's all one company. Some of the concepts that you see that have many franchisees, it takes some time to convince all the entrepreneurs inside the system to say, let's do this, let's do that, right?
Okay. Finally, my final question to you is, of course, in the near term, how do you see A&W moving forward in the next few months? Perhaps some of the ideas or plans that you want to share with us?
think one of the big things is what we call a AIO, all-in-one app. That means the app you can order food at the restaurant, pick it up. You can order delivery through our app, and you get a better deal maybe from the aggregators, and also faster. The problem with the aggregator is they serve so many different merchants, right? And sometimes, like now during the Puasa, at 7 o'clock, if you want to go to the
No, you
aggregator,
can't. By 6 o'clock,
it's almost impossible to get what you want, right? To eat, yeah. So with our all-in-one app and our own people serving the food and bringing the food to you, I think we can control the process and the quality much better.
You're controlling the riders as well? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
that we will have our own riders, meaning,
So
eventually.
it's everything.
Yeah, so the all-in-one will cover delivery, takeaway, and our own store sales.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, there are some fast food.
I don't know whether this, because, I've been seeing things and I've been taught that, building an ecosystem is better, right? You have the app that is operated by one operator, you have the riders operated by another operator, you have merchants operated, and somehow or other it has been working. But A&W is trying a completely new model where everything is controlled with one system. You have no idea how much intriguing this is to me, and I'm going to be looking at this with quite a close eye, because look, everybody's saying that model works, and they're saying that, hang on.
The execution, I mean, it took us like 1.5 years to get this working and piloting. The execution is going to be
key. It's going to be key.
It'll be complex, but we are getting
there. You will have sleepless nights, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we are getting there. And I think eventually, for example, let's say 5 years later, 10 years later, how would a consumer react to your brand? Nobody wants to go to the cashier, order, wait, stand up and wait for your order to come out, right?
Yeah.
They want to just on the way in the car press a button and say, okay, I have the same order like I always do.
And then pick up.
And in 5 minutes, I go there, I pick up, or I just honk, you bring the product out, I'm gone, right?
Yeah.
So we have to look at the convenience of the customer. That experience has to be enhanced, upgraded over the years. It cannot be. And fast food is funny enough, fast food is one of the slowest industry to actually improve in terms of technology.
Again, an oxymoron that you mentioned.
In terms of gearing up for the next consumer or user experience.
Because it's being taught and trained that this is the way to go.
Exactly.
Both by the company and the consumer as well. Anyway, there seems to be a lot more that we can discuss, but for now, we have to conclude our conversation. That was George Ang, the CEO of A&W Malaysia Sdn Bhd. If you've missed out any part of this show, just head on to astroawani.com, look for Notepad over there. You can also look for A&W on our social sites as well as on our website. Until then, thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.